Avengers, assemble. Welcome back to Sanders Presents. I'm Greg, and if you're enjoying the content we're producing, then please consider following that link in the description below to join our Patreon today and become an Avenger. We have tiers starting at $3 and a second tier at $5. You get access to our Discord, exclusive videos, content that we can't host on YouTube or social media for fear of being stricken. We have leaks, rumors, and more. In addition to that, the $5 tier, you will join our Avenger founders, and your name will be featured as part of our producer credits here. And I want to thank Ed and FlyGuy215 for becoming Avengers, and thank all of you for your support and for even considering to support us. I really do appreciate it. So let's get right into it. This is a big one to unravel. This is who dies in Spider-Man No Way Home. This is a rumor and a story that we have been chasing for the better part of a year when we first reported someone dies. Someone dies in Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, following that report, we were then told later that multiple deaths had been recorded. Now, this is interesting, and it happens. It does happen. They record multiple deaths. They want to send people down the wrong path. They want to make sure that if something gets leaked out, maybe it's not the right thing that gets leaked out, so to speak. They want to be very, very careful, and I absolutely respect that. I absolutely understand it. In this digital age, I mean, look how much we've leaked. I understand it. I really do. I get it, and I think that's smart, and I think that's absolutely believable. Now, that's my perspective on it. Your mileage may vary. You may look at that and go, why would they record? And I get that. We're going to walk away with different perspectives on this at that point, really. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But we've seen it done before. We've literally seen and heard stories about how Marvel has filmed other characters dying. We know that's in their wheelhouse. We know that that's a part of their game, so to speak. So when we look at who dies in Spider-Man No Way Home, we've been searching to try to get it narrowed down. Now, again, coming from information that we've been able to trace, that we've been able to track, that we've been able to get in touch with people and verify as best as we possibly can, it does not appear that Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire will die in this film. It appears as though both will survive and will return to their Earths just fine, which we've mentioned before in the past, but that's the one that comes up the most in the comments. Oh, if someone dies, it's got to be Tobey Maguire. And that doesn't appear to be the case. And again, that's just going off the information we have, but it does not appear to be the case, which I think is good. I think bringing back characters to kill them is a mistake. I think exciting people and generating that kind of nostalgia, bringing back beloved characters and beloved actors from beloved franchises like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and then just to kill one or both of them is detrimental to fandom. At some point, there has to be a little bit of fan service, right? I mean, we're dealing with properties that are 50 years old. We're dealing with long-standing characters, long-standing pop culture icons. There's going to intrinsically be a bit of fan service in it. And again, there's also this sequel trilogy Star Wars approach, but it's not an approach that I necessarily agree with. I think you have to service the fans a little bit. And I think bringing back the Spider-Men to kill them is a mistake. And if that's what they choose to do, I will still feel that way. I will be like, well, that's not exactly what I wanted to happen. Which, and again, that's to each their own. So, that narrows it down to 3. Aunt May, MJ, and Ned. Now, various reports have reported various deaths, which makes it very difficult to narrow down, and that's why this is firmly a rumor, but we're going to report on all of them. We've had a report that says Aunt May and Ned die, which is interesting. That is an interesting one. And then we've had a report that says just MJ dies by Green Goblin. And again, to preface this, the report also says that Green Goblin is the one who kills Aunt May. No note on Ned dying, just that Aunt May and Ned die. So again, interesting, but it's there, and it's something that we're going to put out. Now, we can look at this and go, what seems most realistic? Now, I know some people pegged it about Happy and said, okay, Happy's in this film, he's got to be the one to die. But it doesn't look that way. Now, and again, we're working off very basic information. We're working off very little information. I feel like they would have, any death scene, they would have kept as closed as possible. They would have kept it very limited. But it is still interesting that when it comes to any story pertaining to who dies, it's only these three characters that come up in these very specific scenarios, which is interesting. Now, for me, if I was going to approach it and look at it, and this is how I always look at Spider-Man, I wouldn't kill Aunt May. I wouldn't. I think that's detrimental to the story. I don't think you kill Aunt May. I really don't. Peter has to be able to save his aunt. You know, he wasn't able to save his uncle. Peter has to be able to save his aunt. And that's how I feel about it. Which then leads me down to, it's either Ned or it's MJ. And again, if it's Aunt May, fine, so be it. I disagree with it because I feel like that's, I don't know, it's his hero story. He couldn't save his uncle. I'm a broken record. I just feel like he's got to be able to save his Aunt May. But that's me, and I'm interested to see if you have a perspective on that. I am interested to continue that conversation. And so again, you know, if we're going to look at this information and we're going to try to consider it in any type of way viable, is it possible then that Aunt May was a fake out to hide Ned dying? Or vice versa, was the Ned death a fake out to hide the fact of, oh no, it's Aunt May who dies? And again, any of those scenarios are possible if they're filming multiple deaths to keep people off the trail. Absolutely. But I think realistically, it's down to MJ or Ned. And I feel like between Spider-Man's secret identity being out, and then by the end of the film, you know, Strange will do the spell and his secret identity will be restored and no one will remember who he is, or that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And just because of the tragedy often associated with Spider-Man and his love interests, again, I would side toward, in my personal opinion, without any evidence, I would side toward MJ. And that's what I would do. I would side toward, I would get on the side of like, okay, it's Michelle, and I'm sure she ends up dying by Green Goblin's hand. I mean, and again, that's just me. There's no basis on that besides having, hey, you know, this is who dies. That's it. Going off that report, trying to discern it, trying to come to a conclusion. And that's why I wanted to share this information. So I want to look at it now. When you hear this information, who for you is the dead one? Like, who do you see dying? Or is it all a fake out? Or is it all crap and absolutely nobody dies and everybody walks away from this movie fine? I know we have Tom Holland's statements. I know he's saying this is going to be an emotional film. This is going to be sad. This is going to be the darkest film that they've made in the Home trilogy. And that all leads people to believe like, oh, okay, you know, there's going to be, you know, for tragedy, someone will lose their life. Someone close to Peter will lose their life. And it's going to be the turning point in his story arc, which again is interesting and something that I wholeheartedly support. I mean, Peter's lost a lot of people close to him in the comics. It makes sense that they follow that route in any cinematic universe. So I'm interested in exploring those themes. And I think MJ would be the most impactful, that or Ned. I think he's got to save Aunt May. But I want to hear your thoughts on this. I want to see, hearing all of this, where does your mind go? What route do you go down? What road do you follow? Who for you makes the most thematic sense to die in this film? And again, at the same time, who do you see killing them? I feel like we're all going to agree it's got to be Gabi, right? I mean, it has to be. Just now, like I said at the top of the video, to my Avengers, thank you so much for your support and for legitimately making this content possible. I truly do appreciate it. Please consider following that link in the description below, joining our Patreon, and becoming an Avenger today. Thank you. To everyone watching, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. I really do appreciate it. Please consider liking this video, sharing this content across social media, and subscribing to the channel. It all helps immensely with YouTube's analytics and YouTube's algorithms. It basically lets YouTube know, hey, let's recommend this channel to more people. So I do appreciate it. Thank you. Above all else, and most importantly, stay safe, take care of others, and have an absolutely wonderful day. Bye, everyone.